Hello, Paul here from EMD Automotive at Caringbah, Sydney. I've got this Porsche Cayenne V8 4.8 litre here. This car here was told to us about 2 weeks ago, I think 10 days ago, something like that. The engine light was on, but previously the customer brought the car to me for a diagnostic scan outside in the workshop, which I didn't charge him for it. Usually we charge $185 for a depending how long I take, but usually between $100 to $185 for a diagnostic scan data. But anyway, so what I done is I scanned this car and I found a fault, and I told this customer here to actually rebook the car in to bring it back for me to check it properly. Because even though the fault on the computer comes up, it doesn't really mean nothing, because a few things you got to check according to the workshop manual before you actually condemn that part there. Because let's have a look at the fault codes. It's still there. Here it is. P0016, position of intake camshaft to crankshaft bank 1. Alright, the other faults are irrelevant because I disconnected all the plugs here, like this one here, that one there. That's always going to be a fault from the actual locked in the car. But what I've done is, number one, you have to look at the actual workshop manual. Alright, let's have a look closely. P0016, you've got a possible causes: timing set incorrectly, chain extended, camshaft sensor loose, cylinder head cover incorrectly aligned, rotor of the intake camshaft sensor bank 1 is incorrectly positioned, intake camshaft sensor bank 1 not installed correctly. So there's a lot of stuff that you need to that I need to check properly before I actually say to the customer, this is the part that's faulty, and then we'll go from there. I don't just look at the scan tool and actually tell you, oh, the scan tool said this and then we should do this. No, there's a procedure we follow. So the first thing we done, we had to remove both cam covers. This bank 1 and bank 2 comes out, and then we have to check to make sure that the actuators, this is the actuators, camshaft actuators, alright? Make sure that bolt there is tight. Make sure that bolt there is tight, alright? On both intake camshaft, bank 1 and bank 2. And number 2, you gotta make sure, see these bolts in there, alright? These bolts here, this one here, which they go through the actual actuator and hold the housing together. Make sure there's a little gaps here, they're all the same. So that means they haven't come loose yet, alright? Look closely here. Same thing on this side here. So we have to inspect this, inspect that. At the same time, we had to remove the radiator out, the radiator fan out, which is this part here. Remove the radiator fan out, and we have to actually put a special tool on the crankshaft to lock the crankshaft in top dead center with spark plug number 1, piston number 1 on top, which you can see here. So we can actually put the timing tool, camshaft timing tool. We have to check the timing, make sure the timing is correct. So the timing is correct on this one, so fits perfect on this one here, and fits perfect on this one here. Alright, that's the timing. So the timing is set correctly, that's fine. We have to check the rotors. These are the rotors here for any damage. So the rotors got 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 4. So you got the big one at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all there. All the cutouts are there. Same here. 1, 2, 3, 4. All the cutouts are there. Camshaft doesn't looks alright, but the oil needs an oil change. When you don't change oil, the color of the actual metal on top will be looking like this. Alright, make sure you always change your regular oil change, is very important. But so torqued up all the actual caps for the camshaft, double check it, make sure it's all good. All the journal looks okay, that's good. The chain, so what we done, we checked the actual timing chain, the timing chain is good. So I had to check the resistance of these ones and this one here, and I'm gonna run a scope signal test on that one there and that one there, and then I'm gonna run a scope signal test on the actual camshaft sensor, which is this one here that sits on top here, right there, to actually make sure the signals are fine. Same here, run a scope test there as well on that one there. So I gotta adjust that, make sure it's all good. I gotta make sure that it's a lot of tests I've got to do. So all I done was tick everything. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna put the cam cover back on. If your car starts, if your car always starts first go, you still got power going through the engine, you're still running, you're still driving it normal, but the engine light's always on, and that fault's always there, no matter what you do, no matter what you erase the fault, it comes back. So to me, after all my checks are correct, so that means the only thing that we haven't checked is the actual the chain for the actual camshaft timing chain. So when they do start to stretch, when they extend it a little bit, what happens is it will lock a fault, and you can't get rid of that fault because the signal doesn't match up at the right time. That's pretty much it. Alright, so the camshaft and intake camshaft must be aligned at a certain time, a certain point of the engine combustion when you start the carb, and if they don't line up, the computer will say this is not right, this is incorrect, something is wrong, and it will log the fault. Alright, so this has to be done every time you get a P0016. This has got to be done properly, because sometimes you can have a bad actuator can cause that, or a bad actuator on this side can cause that, and a few other stuff can cause that as well, like I shown on the first shown in the beginning of the video on the piece of paper. Alright, now we're going to put everything back together because I think this customer doesn't want to go ahead with the repair, but we have to do this first to confirm what we need to do on this vehicle. Alright, diagnostics is very important, so make sure don't trust the scan tool, trust your checks and your diagnostics alignment or checking or wiring. All that stuff's got to be done properly before you actually say this is the problem. But we found the problem anyway, but we're going to put everything back together, because I think the customer wants the car back. Anyway, thanks for watching, and please subscribe.